The golden sun rose over Enchancia, but something felt different that morning. The castle, usually filled with laughter and music, was unusually quiet. Princess Sofia stood by her window, looking over the kingdom with worried eyes. Birds flew from one side of the forest to the other, carrying bits of parchment, letters of complaints from villagers and nobles. The once peaceful land of Enchancia was now full of disagreements. Some people from the villages near the mountains wanted new trade routes. Others from the riverside towns complained that their boats couldn't pass through safely. Even within the castle walls, tension was growing. Princess Amber and Prince James couldn't stop arguing about who should organize the upcoming royal festival. Sophia sighed. Why is everyone fighting all of a sudden? Enchancia has always been full of harmony. Clover hopped up on her windowsill, nibbling a carrot. Maybe it's just a bad week? Or maybe too many people forgot to eat breakfast. That always makes me grumpy. Sophia laughed softly, but her heart felt heavy. It's more than that, Clover. People aren't listening to each other anymore. It's like everyone only wants to be right. Before she could say more, Bailiwick knocked gently on the door. Princess Sophia, the king and queen request your presence in the throne room. It's urgent. Sophia quickly fixed her hair, adjusted her amulet, and hurried down the long marble halls. As she entered the throne room, she saw King Roland and Queen Miranda in deep discussion with Sir Bartleby, the royal messenger. Ah, Sophia, King Roland said with a weary smile, we could use your wisdom. Things are getting out of hand across the kingdom. Sophia curtsied. What's happening, father? Sir Bartleby unrolled a scroll. The northern villages refuse to send their supplies to the south until roads are repaired. The farmers from the south want the river clean before the next harvest, and the mountain folk say they won't attend the royal festival unless their trade demands are met. Queen Miranda sighed. It feels like the whole kingdom is divided. Sophia thought for a moment. Maybe everyone just wants to be heard. They're upset because they think no one understands them. The king nodded. You may be right, my dear. But how can we bring everyone together before the royal festival? It's only 3 days away. Sophia's amulet glowed faintly, as if responding to her heart. Maybe there's a way, she said softly. If people could remember how much they share, their love for Enchancia, their families, their dreams, maybe they'd stop fighting. Queen Miranda looked hopeful. And how do you plan to remind them, Sophia? Sophia smiled shyly. I'll visit the villages myself. I'll listen to them, help where I can, and invite them personally to the festival. Maybe if they see that the royal family truly cares, they'll want to unite again. King Roland frowned slightly. That's a noble idea, Sophia, but the journey could be long and difficult. The roads are rough and tempers are high. Sophia stood tall, determination in her voice. Then I'll go with kindness and courage. I know Enchancia's people. They have good hearts. They just need a little reminder. Amber entered the room at that moment, overhearing the conversation. You're going alone? She asked. Oh, Sophia, you'll get dirt on your dress and bugs in your hair. James rolled his eyes. Amber, not everything's about dresses. Sophia chuckled. It's okay. I won't be alone. Clover, Robin, and Mia will come with me. We'll start with the mountain villages. King Roland exchanged a glance with the queen and nodded. Very well, Sophia. You have our permission, but please be careful and take this royal seal. It will show everyone that you speak with the king's voice. Sophia accepted the golden seal and curtsied. Thank you, father. I promise I'll do my best. That afternoon, Sophia packed a small satchel, a few snacks for Clover, a map of the kingdom, and her travel cloak. As she stepped outside the castle gates, the wind carried the scent of pine and roses. The kingdom stretched far and wide before her, beautiful yet troubled. Clover hopped beside her, looking up nervously. You really think you can fix all this, Sophia? Sophia smiled gently. Not fix it, Clover. Unite it. There's a difference. They started their journey down the cobblestone path that led toward the mountains. The road was quiet, but Sophia could already feel the weight of her mission. Along the way, they passed villagers muttering to each other, some complaining, others looking sad. Sophia stopped and greeted them kindly, offering smiles and gentle words. She promised to listen to their worries, and the people seemed surprised. No princess had ever come to them personally before. That night, Sophia and Clover camped under the stars. The forest hummed with crickets, and the moonlight glowed softly over the trees. Clover looked up at the sky and sighed. You really think talking and smiling can make everyone stop arguing? Sophia wrapped her cloak tighter and smiled. Maybe not right away. But kindness is like magic. Clover. It starts small and then spreads. Clover munched a carrot thoughtfully. I hope you're right, kid. As Sophia closed her eyes, her amulet glowed faintly again. She heard a soft whisper in the wind, a gentle voice, maybe from one of her magical friends. Trust your heart, Princess Sophia, it said. It will guide you where words cannot. Sophia smiled in her sleep, feeling warmth and courage fill her heart. She didn't know what challenges tomorrow would bring, but she knew one thing for sure. She was ready to bring her kingdom back together. And somewhere in the distance, beyond the glowing hills, a faint storm was forming, a sign that her journey would not be easy. The morning light peeked through the forest trees, waking Sophia and Clover from their sleep. The air was cool and smelled of pine and dew. Sophia stretched her arms and smiled. Good morning, Enchancia, she said softly. Clover yawned and chewed on a leftover carrot. I hope you're big. Let's unite the kingdom. Idea comes with breakfast. Sophia giggled. Patience, Clover. First, we reach the mountain villages. Then we'll earn breakfast. They followed a winding dirt path that climbed higher and higher into the hills. Along the way, Robin and Mia joined them, fluttering happily above Sophia's head. Good morning, Princess, chirped Robin. We've heard the mountain people are upset about the new trade rules. Mia nodded. They say the southern merchants aren't being fair. Sophia frowned. Then that's where we'll start, by listening. As they reached the mountain village of Goldvale, Sophia noticed how quiet it was. Normally, the place buzzed with life, miners, traders, and families. But now, people stood in small groups, whispering angrily. A tall woman with braided hair noticed Sophia and gasped. Princess Sophia? Here? In Goldvale? Sophia smiled warmly. Yes, I came to listen to your worries and see how I can help. The woman hesitated, then said, I'm Mara, the head of the Miners' Guild. We're angry because the southern traders refuse to buy our gems unless we lower prices. But how can we lower prices when the road to the city is broken? No one from the palace has even visited to check. Sophia nodded thoughtfully. You're right. That's unfair. But I promise, I'll make sure your message reaches the king. Mara crossed her arms. Words are easy, Princess. Actions matter. Sophia took off her cloak and picked up a shovel leaning against a rock. Then let's fix the road together. The villagers stared in surprise as the young princess began clearing rocks and dirt from the damaged path. Clover grumbled but joined in, using his little paws to push pebbles aside. For hours they worked side by side. Sophia's hand became dusty and her hair messy, but she didn't mind. When she smiled at the others, they couldn't help but smile back. By sunset, part of the road was smooth again. Mara looked amazed. You really meant it, she said softly. You care about us. Sophia wiped her forehead. Of course I do. Every person in Enchancia matters. We're one big family. The villagers clapped and cheered. They offered Sophia food and rest, grateful for her kindness. That night, as they sat around the fire, Mara said, Princess, if you can bring peace between us and southern traders, Goldvale will stand with you. Sophia nodded. That's a promise. The next morning, she set off down the repaired road toward the southern riverside town of Driftwood. As they walked, Clover muttered, You're doing great, Sophia. But what if those traders are even grumpier? Sophia smiled. Then I'll be even kinder. When they reached Driftwood, the smell of fish and fresh bread filled the air. Boats floated lazily on the river, but the docks were strangely quiet. The townsfolk looked upset, arguing near the market stalls. A young man approached Sophia. You're the princess, right? The mountain folks sent you, didn't they? Sophia nodded. Yes, I came to listen to your side, too. The man's side. We're not the bad ones. We can't buy their gems because the river's been blocked with fallen trees. Our boats can't pass, and the traders lose money every day. Sofia looked toward the water. Huge logs and branches jammed the river. Then let's clear it, she said, determination lighting her eyes. She called Mia and Robin. Can you help guide the workers from above? On it. Robin chirped, flying up high, with teamwork and encouragement. Sofia led the villagers as they pulled ropes, moved logs, and cleared the path for the boats. The work was hard, but the people laughed and sang as Sofia joined in. When the river finally began to flow again, everyone cheered. The boat set sail, the merchants waved, and the young man smiled. Princess, you've done what no royal has done before. You actually listened. Sofia blushed. Listening is where magic begins. That evening, she met Mara again at the border road. The mountain and river people came face to face, both nervous. Sofia stepped between them, holding her amulet as it shimmered faintly. The roads are repaired, she said gently. The river flows again. Can we agree to trade fairly, for the good of Enchancia? For a moment, no one spoke. Then Mara stepped forward. You kept your word, Princess. We'll trade fairly again. The southern merchant nodded. And we'll send food and supplies to the mountains just like before. Everyone clapped and cheered. Sofia's heart filled with joy. That's the spirit of Enchancia, she said. When we work together, there's nothing we can't do. That night, under a sky full of stars, Sofia sat on a hill overlooking both the mountains and the river. Clover curled beside her, half asleep. You did it, he mumbled. 2 villages down. How many left to unite? Sofia looked into the distance, where the forest stretched endlessly. A few more, Clover. But something tells me the hardest part is yet to come. As her amulet glowed softly, Sofia heard a faint whisper again, the same gentle voice as before. Beware, young princess. Darkness grows where division once lived. Sofia's eyes widened. She looked toward the distant castle, its lights faint on the horizon. Darkness? She whispered. What kind of darkness? But the wind only carried silence. Clover stirred and blinked. What's wrong, Sofia? Sofia forced a smile. Nothing. Let's rest. Tomorrow we head to the forest villages. Yet deep inside, Sofia knew that something was coming. Something more than broken roads or angry traders. Something that threatened the heart of Enchancia itself. The next morning, Princess Sofia woke early. The air was filled with birdsong, and a light mist covered the forest path. Clover stretched and yawned beside her. Another day, another adventure, huh? He said sleepily. Sofia smiled. Yes, Clover. We've helped the mountain and river villages, but the forest folk are next. If we can bring them together too, we'll be closer to uniting the whole kingdom. Mia and Robin flew ahead, calling out directions. The forest of Mistywood is just beyond those hills, chirped Mia. But as they entered the thick woods, the cheerful sounds faded. The air grew cooler, and a strange silence wrapped around them. The trees were tall and ancient, their branches tangled like webs. This place feels different, Clover whispered. Are you sure the people here will even talk to us? Sofia nodded, though she too felt uneasy. They will. We just have to show them we mean peace. After walking for a while, they spotted smoke rising from behind a cluster of giant oaks. They followed it and soon found a small village hidden deep in the forest. Wooden huts stood among the trees, and lanterns made from hollow gourds glowed softly. But the villagers didn't seem happy. They were arguing loudly in the middle of the clearing. An older man with a gray beard pointed toward the trees. The hunters can't be trusted. They've been scaring away the magical creatures. A tall woman with feathers braided in her hair stepped forward. We only hunt to protect our homes. The woodcutters keep chopping the trees and ruining everything. Sofia stepped into the clearing and raised her hand. Please, everyone, calm down. I'm Princess Sofia of Enchancia. I came to help. Everyone turned to stare. Some looked surprised, others suspicious. The princess, muttered one man. What's a royal doing here? Sofia walked closer and spoke softly. I've come to listen. I know your forest is special, and I want to understand your troubles. The feathered woman bowed slightly. I am Nyla, leader of the forest hunters. The man you see is Bram, head of the woodcutters. We have lived here together for years, but lately the balance is broken. The creatures have fled deeper into the woods, and the river runs slower. Bram frowned. We only cut the dead trees, but the hunters think we're destroying their sacred groves. Nyla's eyes flashed. You've been cutting near the enchanted glade, Bram. That place is blessed by forest spirits. Sofia thought carefully. Then maybe we should see the glade together. Sometimes the truth is hidden until we look at it side by side. Both leaders hesitated, then slowly nodded. Guided by Sofia, the group followed a narrow trail lined with moss and glowing flowers. As they walked, Sofia noticed the air shimmered faintly, as if magic lived in every leaf. When they reached the glade, everyone gasped. It was beautiful. A ring of silver trees surrounded a sparkling pond. But one of the trees lay broken, its roots half buried in mud. The air around it felt heavy and sad. Nyla knelt beside it. This is one of the sacred trees. Without it, the forest spirits will fade. Bram looked guilty. We didn't know. The storm last week brought down some trees, and we thought this one was already dead. We only took a few logs. Sofia placed her hand gently on the fallen trunk. Her amulet of Avalor began to glow softly. A soft wind blew, carrying a whisper that only she could hear. Princess of Heart, said a gentle voice. The forest can be healed if unity is true. Sofia turned to the others. We can fix this, together. The magic of the forest wants harmony, not anger. The villagers exchanged uncertain looks. Clover hopped up on a rock. You heard her. Let's get to work before this magical tree decides to haunt us. Everyone laughed a little, and the tension eased. Sofia knelt by the roots, helping Bram, and Nyla dig gently around them. Robin and Mia gathered seeds and water, while the villagers fetched tools and ropes. As the sun dipped lower, something amazing began to happen. The silver leaves of the fallen tree shimmered again, glowing softly as the roots touched the soil. The forest spirit, it's returning. Nyla whispered. Sofia smiled. Because we work together. When the tree finally stood upright again, the pond sparkled and the soft chirping of magical creatures filled the air. Tiny fairies fluttered from behind the branches, their wings like petals. One of them, glowing green, flew up to Sofia. Thank you, Princess, it said in a voice like a breeze. The forest remembers your kindness. Sofia bowed her head. It wasn't just me. Everyone here helped. Bram stepped forward. You've opened our eyes, Princess. We'll rebuild carefully from now on together. Nyla nodded. The hunters and woodcutters will share the forest again. The villagers cheered and began to light lanterns as night fell. Sofia watched them, her heart full of warmth. That evening, as everyone celebrated with songs and food, Sofia sat beside the glowing pond. Clover nibbled on a berry tart. You did it again, Sofia. Another part of Enchancia, united. Sofia smiled. I just helped them listen to each other. The forest did the rest. But as she looked up, her amulet shimmered faintly again. The voice from before whispered softly, almost sad. Beware, Princess, the shadow grows closer. Sofia froze. The shadow, she whispered. Clover looked up. What did you say? Sofia shook her head quickly. Oh, nothing. Just thinking. But inside, her heart felt uneasy. She looked toward the horizon and saw, far away, a strange dark mist curling above the distant castle towers. Her journey was far from over. Something darker was waiting, and it was growing stronger every day. The next morning, Sofia and her friends packed their things and began the long walk back toward Enchancia Castle. The sun rose behind the forest, but the air felt strangely cool, and a gray mist hung low over the fields. Clover hopped beside her, twitching his nose. I don't like this fog, Sofia. It smells like trouble. Sofia nodded. I feel it too. Something isn't right. As they traveled, Robin and Mia flew high above to scout the way. When they returned, they looked worried. Sofia, Robin chirped, There's a strange dark cloud over the castle. It's not a storm. It's moving. Sofia stopped in her tracks. Then the warning was true, she whispered. The shadow is real. They hurried down the road, passing the mountain and river villages once more. People waved as she passed, but Sofia could only smile weakly. The glow of her amulet flickered with every step. By the time they reached the castle gates, the sky had grown darker and the guards looked uneasy. "Princess Sofia," one of them called. "Thank goodness you're here. Something strange has been happening all morning. The queen is in her chambers, and King Roland is meeting the advisors. But the lights keep flickering and the air feels cold." Sofia rushed inside. The grand halls of the castle were dim, and the usually warm torches burned with a faint, bluish flame. The portraits on the walls seemed to watch silently as she passed. In the throne room, King Roland stood near the window, his crown slightly tilted, his face pale. "Sofia," he said softly, "I'm glad you're safe. You've done so much good for the kingdom, but now something dark threatens all of it. What happened, father?" Sofia asked, running up to him. He pointed out the window. A dark mist was swirling over the distant hills, slowly spreading toward the villages. "It began near the old ruins," the king explained. "Some say it's a curse awakened by our divisions. The more people argued, the stronger it grew. Now it's heading straight for Enchancia." Sofia's eyes widened. "Then we need to stop it before it reaches the villages I just helped." Queen Miranda entered, her face full of worry. "My dear, you brought unity wherever you went. Maybe that's why the amulet chose you, because you carry the light that can fight this darkness." Sofia touched her amulet. It glowed faintly, as if agreeing. "Then I'll do whatever it takes." Just then, Bailiwick hurried in. "Your Majesties, the mist has reached the royal gardens. The plants are withering." Sofia ran outside with Clover and her friends following close behind. The once bright garden was now gray and lifeless. The flowers drooped, and the fountain water had turned still. "Oh no," Sofia whispered. Then, from within the mist, a shadowy figure began to form. It wasn't human, more like a swirling shape with glowing eyes. A deep, echoing voice filled the air. "Princess of Light," it hissed. "You've mended hearts, but the kingdom's past cannot be erased. Every grudge, every doubt feeds me, and I am stronger than kindness." Sofia stood tall, though her heart raced. "No, you're wrong. Kindness is stronger than anything." The shadow laughed, shaking the ground. "Prove it, child." The mist shot forward, surrounding Sofia and her friends. Clover yelped and hid behind her dress. Robin and Mia flapped desperately to stay in the air. Sofia closed her eyes and held her amulet. "Please," she whispered, "show me what to do." A warm light began to glow from the gem, brighter than ever before. Then a familiar voice spoke gently in her mind, the voice of Princess Elena of Avalor. "Sofia, your light comes from those you've helped. Call on them. Their unity is your strength." Sofia's eyes opened. "That's it," she gasped. "The people." She turned to Clover. "We need everyone, the mountain miners, the river traders, the forest folk, all of them. The shadow feeds on division, so only together can we defeat it." Clover nodded. "Then let's rally the kingdom." With the help of royal messengers and magical birds, Sofia sent word across Enchancia. Within hours, groups of villagers began arriving at the castle. Miners with lanterns, traders with boats, and forest hunters carrying torches. Even the fairies from the forest glade came, their wings glowing faintly. As the shadow thickened and lightning flashed across the sky, Sofia stood on the castle steps. Her small figure shone in the gloom as she raised her voice. "People of Enchancia, this darkness is not just a storm. It's every moment we've let fear and anger keep us apart. But we are one kingdom, one family. If we believe in each other, we can bring back the light." The villagers lifted their lanterns and torches high. The glow began to spread, chasing back the mist bit by bit. The shadow roared angrily. "Fools! Light fades. I will return." Sofia took a deep breath and lifted her amulet high. Its purple glow burst into a beam of light that reached the sky. The villagers' lights joined with it. forming a giant wave of color that washed over the castle and fields. For a moment, everything was still. Then the shadows screamed and vanished, torn apart by the brilliance of their unity. The mist cleared, the sun broke through the clouds, and the gardens began to bloom again. Everyone cheered, and Sophia smiled with tears in her eyes. "We did it," she whispered. Together, King Roland placed a hand on her shoulder. "You've saved Enchancia, Sophia, not with magic, but with your heart." Clover hopped up beside her. "Not bad for a princess with muddy shoes," he teased. Sophia laughed. Maybe being a little messy helps. But as the people celebrated, the amulet shimmered again, this time softly, peacefully. A gentle voice spoke one last time. "The true ruler unites hearts, not crowns. You have done well, Princess Sophia." Sophia smiled up at the sky. The light had returned, but she knew that unity was something she would need to protect every day. The morning after battle, Enchancia woke to the sound of bells ringing joyfully across the land. The sky was bright and blue again, and sunlight sparkled on the castle towers. Birds sang, flowers bloomed, and laughter filled the air. Sophia stood on her balcony, looking out over the kingdom she had fought to protect. The fields were green again, the river flowed strong, and the forest shimmered with life. It was as if the whole world had taken a deep breath of relief. Clover hopped beside her, munching on a carrot. "Well, kid, looks like we saved the day." "Again." Sophia smiled. "We did, Clover. But it wasn't just us. Everyone helped. The miners, the traders, the forest folk, even the fairies. We all did it together." Mia fluttered onto her shoulder. "And don't forget us birds. We spread your message across the kingdom faster than any royal messenger could." Sophia laughed. "That's true, Mia. I couldn't have done it without you." As she looked out over the horizon, she saw groups of villagers heading toward the castle gates, not out of fear or anger, but celebration. The king had invited everyone to a grand festival, one that would mark the day Enchancia stood united once again. Later that afternoon, the castle courtyard was decorated with ribbons, flowers, and banners in shades of purple and gold. Long tables were filled with fruit pies, honey bread, and sparkling lemonade. Children ran about with balloons, and music from the royal orchestra filled the air. When Sophia stepped outside, everyone cheered. Princess Sophia. Hooray for the princess. Her cheeks turned pink. "Oh, thank you, everyone. But remember, this victory belongs to all of us." King Roland raised his cup. "To Princess Sophia, whose courage and kindness reminded us that the heart of a kingdom is its people." The crowd cheered even louder. Clover puffed out his chest. "Yeah, and her talking rabbit." Everyone laughed, and the music started again. Villagers from every corner of Enchancia danced together, mountain folk twirling with river traders, forest hunters sharing stories with palace guards. For the first time in a long time, no one cared where anyone came from. They were one kingdom. Sophia danced too, spinning with joy as her friends joined her. Even Bailiwick smiled as he balanced trays of pastries for the children. As evening fell, the queen called everyone's attention. "We have one more surprise," she said. "Tonight, we honor Princess Sophia with a special gift, a symbol of unity for all of Enchancia." 2 palace guards carried forward a beautiful silver crown, decorated with gems from the mountains, pearls from the rivers, and flowers from the forests. Queen Miranda placed it gently on Sophia's head. "This crown represents every part of our kingdom working together, just as you have." Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Mother. I'll wear it with love and always remember what it means." Just then, the amulet around her neck began to glow softly again. Everyone gasped as a gentle light surrounded her. From within it, the faint figure of Princess Elena of Avalor appeared, smiling proudly. "Sophia," Elena said warmly, "you have proven yourself not just as a princess, but as a true leader. You brought peace without force and healed hearts without magic. That is the greatest power of all." Sophia bowed her head. "Thank you, Princess Elena. I couldn't have done it alone." Elena's image nodded. "And that's why you succeeded. Remember, Sophia, the light of one heart can guide many others." With that, The image faded, and the amulet's glow slowly dimmed. The crowd stood in awe, then began to cheer again. That night, fireworks lit up the sky above Enchancia, bursts of purple, gold, and silver that reflected off the castle walls. Sofia stood with her family and friends, watching them sparkle. King Roland put his arm around her. "You've grown so much, Sofia. When you first came to the castle, you were unsure of what it meant to be a princess. But now, you've shown us all the true meaning of royalty." Sofia smiled softly. "Being royal isn't about crowns or titles, Father. It's about helping others and making sure everyone feels like they belong." Clover nodded. "You said it, princess. And I think you've earned a nice long nap after all this uniting business." They all laughed. Later, as the festival ended and the guests went home, Sofia walked out to the royal garden. The moon shone brightly over the freshly bloomed roses, and the fountain sparkled again with life. She sat on a bench, listening to the gentle sound of the water. The kingdom was peaceful now, but she knew that peace was something to be cared for every day. Mia landed beside her. "Thinking again, Sofia?" Sofia nodded, just remembering everything. The mountains, the rivers, the forests. They all had their problems, but they found harmony in the end. "I want to make sure it stays that way." Robin perched on the fountain. "And it will, as long as you're around." Sofia smiled at her friends. "Maybe, but unity doesn't belong to me. It belongs to everyone, every villager, every creature, every heart that chooses kindness." She looked up at the stars. "Because even when shadows appear, light will always find a way back." The wind blew softly through the garden, carrying the laughter from the last few villagers heading home. Clover stretched beside her. "You know," he said sleepily, "for a little princess, you sure make a big difference." Sofia chuckled. Maybe that's what princesses are supposed to do. And with that, the young princess of Enchancia sat quietly under the moonlight, her amulet glowing faintly, a reminder that as long as there was love and unity in the kingdom, the light would never fade again. Sparkles the end sparkles.